in Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to the center and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work in the weight room. And you can pick up, you saw enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. Glad to be with you on this Hump Day edition of the Martin Houston Show. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We got a great show lined up for you. Gonna have a little deal, no deal here in just a few minutes. We'll also be taking a deep dive inside the college football playoffs. We'll review the Alabama basketball game. Alabama getting a big win over UNLV. Some of what we had hoped to see. We saw some of that come together last night, and John Petty having his best game of his senior campaign, and more. Herb Jones even getting in the offensive swing of things. So we'll look at that. We'll also look at keys to Alabama versus LSU, and we'll end the show with some conversation with Scotty Hollins with the Johnson and Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week. So glad you've chosen to be with us. Remember, the Taco Casa hotline is open for business, so give us a call at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. It's now time for a little deal, no deal, so I'll toss it over the glass to Joe. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Not bad today, Martin. Waking up, trying to have a great hump day, get on the back half of the week. How about yourself?
Absolutely. That's about the only way you can do it is one day at a time, so let's do this.
That's right. So deal or no deal, Alabama's playing LSU this weekend, and LSU had a pretty large opt-out or quit or walk away, whatever you want to call it. Terrace Marshall, LSU's leading receiver, saw the upcoming schedule of Alabama and Florida in back-to-back weeks and decided opting out was better than playing. Deal or no deal, Martin?
I'm going to say deal with the caveat that it's just the culture and the time we live in. The council culture and the me culture all combining in one arena. And so I look at it from the standpoint of, yes, the young man has an opportunity to go to the next level and play at the next level, but also think that he took the easy road out in terms of jumping ship and opting out, because, you know, 2 games against these 2 teams could impact you in your draft status, because film don't lie. So when you don't put out the right type of film, then it can hurt you. And right now, part of it being quarterback play, part of it being the way the games are going, he made a deal that he thinks is best for his future, but I also think it's a selfish move.
Well, Alabama got a big victory over Auburn this past weekend, getting revenge on last year's loss, and kind of getting a little bit of one over on Bo Nix, calling Mac Jones a game manager. If you saw the Alabama social media team over the weekend, they put out a nice little poster picture, kind of trolling Auburn football. Basically, the game manager nickname that Bo Nix used for Mac Jones. Deal or no deal, Martin Houston. The Alabama football social media team got admonished for its troll post on social media.
Admonished from the administration?
Nick Saban. From Coach Saban.
I have not seen that. I hope they didn't, but it would fall in line with Nick Saban's character to come back and do something of that sort in terms of complimenting him. But I'm going to say no. If you know something different, let me know. But it would be one of those things, if he's asked about it publicly, I think he'll be like, well, that's not the way we do things. But privately behind closed doors, it'll be one of those proud moments where he pats his son on the back.
No, I don't know. I don't have any details. I don't know.
What do you think?
But I don't know. I think Coach Saban's going to look at that and be like, we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
The scoreboard was embarrassing enough.
And that would be a true statement. That's why I said publicly, if he's asked about it, he'll give the answer you and I just both said, that it's kind of like, hey guys, we don't need to do that. Don't. You think
he probably has a poster of it in a secret office?
I would not be surprised if he didn't.
The office that only he and Terry knows about, built in.
Yeah. And I thought it was a great troll, though. I mean,
it was well done. It was not. It was. It wasn't overly. It wasn't overly done. It was a little subtle, but not subtle enough. You knew exactly what they were talking about. I enjoyed it.
Ditto.
Martin, I know you're going to get into some playoffs a little bit later down the line, but sitting in an Alabama tradition last night made me think about a deal or no deal. Ohio State deserves the number 4 ranking.
Gonna have to be consistent with what I said last night and what I've been saying the whole time. I do not think they deserve that spot if we're gonna have guidelines and criteria for champions. And the league itself says that they have to play 6 games. They are literally 1 game from not being able to be in their own conference champion. And that's because they're doing what, Joe? They're comparing it to all of the other teams within their conference, right? If all their teams in their conference only were playing 4 games, then there would be no concern with Ohio State being in the conference championship. But they have said you have to get 6 games in order to play. I don't understand why that same type of logic can apply to the college football playoffs. If they're not within a certain percentage, like every other league has, then they shouldn't be there. Now, does that mean that Ohio State, if you ask me which Ohio State team would win, which team would have the better chance of beating Alabama? It very well may be Ohio State, but, last year Alabama had a better chance of winning than Utah. But Utah got in because of what they had done on the field and the number of games they had to play. So I'm going to say no deal. They do not deserve to be in the college football playoffs, and I'll go into that a little bit more behind some logic of why I think that in a moment.
And we'll finish it up for the basketball court. The first night of this Maui Invitational, Alabama shot 29 3-pointers against Stanford and lost the game. Well, last night, Alabama shot 40 3-pointers and won the game. Deal or no deal, this is the best way for Alabama to play, by living and dying behind the 3-point line.
Well, I would say deal is the best way for them to play because that's who they are. That's the DNA that he has recruited to. That's the offense he wants to play. And, you're going to have to play that way. The key is when the shots aren't going, Joe, they have to have something else that they fall back to, whether it be defense, and get some easy buckets, whether it be some other way to get to the hole, driving. You live and die by it. That's who you are. But you also, to me, you have to add something else to it and be able to, in those dry moments, because if you shoot threes the way we do, you're going to have runs where you look electric, and then you're going to have runs where you can't seem to buy, a bucket. And when those happen, can your defense pick it up? Can your driving and your other offensive elements? Because if you have 5 wides out there, Joe, shouldn't you be able to get some lanes to the bucket? I mean,
oh yeah, the post should be wide open. Jordan Brunner's kind of struggled in his first little bit as a grad transfer, at least offensively. He's done well rebounding and playing defense, but offensively, I don't think he's been exactly what we thought we were going to get from a post player.
Yeah, correct. He's not knocking down the three at a high level, and he's not, getting a lot of points, at all in the paint. He has 2 points last night. He did have 7 rebounds, 4 assists. So, like I said, you still have to live with it because that's who you are. I found it interesting. I didn't know this last night. I don't know if you watched the entire game. I did not. I watched the second part of it. But he was a math teacher, and so statistics was like one of his favorite courses. And, of course, that explains his it impacted his basketball philosophy and strategy from an analytical standpoint. And that's why he believes so much in the analytics. So it's an interesting thing. But, Joe, I'm going to say deal flat out. This is the way Alabama has to play. And, that's what they did last night.
Absolutely. They got a big old win. They got to play Providence State for hopefully to get fifth in this event. I think that this is the way that we'll play, and I think that we're ultimately going to be successful once everything starts clicking.
All right. Well, that wraps up Deal, No Deal. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, listeners. We'll comment on some of those remarks on the other side. We have Pat on the phone. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, 205-342-9904. This is the Martin Houston Show, and we're able to do it each and every Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 because of great sponsors, including Overflow Express Wash. OverflowExpressWash.com is where you can find them online. Stop by their location off of Skyland Boulevard. Keep your car clean inside and out. Great atmosphere, great experience, and a clean, sharp car inside and out. That's Overflow Express Wash. And don't forget, coming to the Northport area early first quarter of 2021, second location right there on McFarland. We'll give you more details about that as it gets a little bit closer. Thanks for listening to the Martin Houston Show. We'll be right back.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
The Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we still have a wreck on Blur Lane northbound, headed into Northport. Some minor delays there. Foggy conditions around town, so please slow beams and drive carefully. If you see other conditions, give us a call. You don't have to leave town to get a great deal on a brand new Nissan. Head to your hometown Nissan dealer, Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa. I'm Captain Ray.
It's almost time for the holidays. Come pick out your Honda at Townsend Honda during our pre-holiday sale going on now. Log on to townsendhonda.com or stop by Townsend Honda on Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
Mary's Bistro delivery business is bustling and ready to burst.
Orders 34, 35, and 36 are up. Who's handling these? Hello, Mary's Bistro, now delivering.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Dell Technologies has announced their Cyber Monday sale. They're releasing new doorbusters every weekday, plus up to 50% off cutting-edge tech for your business. There's no better time to upgrade your small business with the latest laptops and desktops with Intel Core processors, plus there's free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Give Dell Technologies advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business. Call 877-ASK-DELL or go to Dell.com/SP Cyber Monday. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sunny weather continues across West Alabama today with a warmer afternoon, the high 58. For tonight, mostly fair with a low at 30. Tomorrow, increasingly cloudy, a chance of rain by mid to late afternoon. Rain more likely tomorrow night, the high at 54. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Martin, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Got some callers lined up. If you want to get in on the conversation, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. And on behalf of Taco Casa, wishing you a very happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year from the folks over at Taco Casa. Had a couple questions we want to get to from the Twitter, from the Facebook feed, and we'll get to that. But before we do that, let's get to Pat. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Oh, first off, I think that the reason that Ohio State has such a high regard is strictly their helmet.
Oh, I would agree with that. I think that's a lot of what you see in terms of some of the rankings, period. In terms of the college football playoff rankings, I think they have several helmet teams, or they're giving credit to other teams for the helmet. When you look at just looking, Pat, at what happened, Notre Dame beats North Carolina. North Carolina moves up several spots. So that's propping Notre Dame up. It looks like a lot of propping. I'm going to break that down here in a few minutes, time permitting, but there's a lot of propping going on by this committee, and Ohio State sitting there with 4 wins is one of those prop ups.
Okay. All right. Next question. I have a deal, no deal question.
Go ahead.
That deal, no deal, does LSU, or does Alabama not score 50 points unless there's 2 defensive scoring opportunities?
Repeat that now.
I said deal, no deal. Alabama does not break 50 points unless our defense has 2 scorers.
We talked a little bit about this last night on Alabama Tradition. Will Nick Saban, if Alabama gets ahead, the question is, will he rest guys early in this game? I'll answer with a conditional yes, Pat. If we play through the third quarter with our starters, we can get there. If we start resting our players early, maybe not even taking the whole group out, but just resting certain guys, certain weapons, then I will say no without some defensive help.
Yep, that's what. Okay, so you agree that it's the faults.
that we got to have defense, or treated it. We got to have defensive help to get to 50 because there's so many. I couldn't get into the morning show to give a score. Not morning show, but the Ryan Stewart show to give a score yesterday. I called like 20 times, but so he is doing a good job getting call-ins, and hopefully the ones will pick up on this show too. And it already is. It's hard to get in there, so I get up and call early. All right. Anyway, hey, Martin Easton, have a blessed day, and I will give you. Hopefully I can get into Hank tomorrow because I got lots of questions. I did get to talk to Drew D. Orman about reading, and we'll see if Drew agrees. I mean, if he agrees with Drew. Anyway, have a blessed day. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pat. All right, let's jump over to Robert from Mobile. Robert, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind?
Hey, man.
Hey, no.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the Ohio State situation. I heard you and you and Ryan talk last night about it. And as usual, you were 100% right on this one. It's just the unfairness of it. Clemson, Alabama, even Notre Dame all risk 4 games, 4 players at risk, and to get in. And here, Ohio State, but right now it's just 4 games, not even half of what Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame has played. And you're in the play, and right now, at the end of the day, you're in the playoff.
Yeah.
And because the committee thinks you'll play better than the Texas A&M and Florida or Texas or whoever. Like you said, Utah. Alabama was a superior team to Utah last year.
Right.
It didn't matter last year.
And that's the thing to me is everybody. I guess it's results or eye test, and it looks like this committee. In some cases, they're going with the eye test. Some cases, they're going with results. Listen to this. Right now, the number 4 team in the country beat Nebraska. Nebraska has 1 win. They beat Penn State. Penn State got their first win against Michigan, who has 2 wins. And then they beat Rutgers, and Rutgers has 2 wins. And that's against Michigan State, who just got their second win. It was a big win over Northwestern. And then Indiana has 4 wins. And if you add up all 6 teams that they will play, if they play their next 2 games, those 2 teams have a combined win. I mean, those 6 teams have a combined total of 13 wins at this point. And the most they could end up with is 15 wins if Ohio State wins out, because Michigan State would lose this week to Ohio State, giving them only an opportunity to get 1 more win. And then Michigan would only have the opportunity, if they play this week, they may end up with the opportunity to only have 1 win and maybe none. And that's the team. And like I said, that's fine. If we're going to go with eye test, that's fine with me. I just don't want to hear anybody complain about strength of schedule. How can you say this team deserves to be in based on the strength of schedule? It tickled me that they made a point to say BYU, the president, the Iowa State guy, the guy who's leading the committee, made a statement that, well, we looked at the opponents that BYU has played, and they haven't played anyone. And so because they haven't played anyone, we can't put them in. Who has Ohio State played? And that tells me that it's about the helmet and not the results, if you're counting who Ohio State has played. Here's a question I have. If Notre Dame, Robert, had not been able to be added to the ACC and had gone out and played the same teams that BYU played and were sitting where they were sitting, do you think they would be at 9-0? Do you think Notre Dame would be sitting outside of the top 10?
Oh no, Notre Dame would be in, and that's like you said, that's another problem too. I mean, how many times you beat Alabama over the head or whatever our strength schedule? And that was against SEC competition, all
right.
We beat us over there because But suppose if Florida or Texas A&M or LSU had Ohio State schedule, they would run it. And right now, LSU is threatening to be a bottom feeder in the SEC. But they would run Ohio State's schedule as the king of that schedule. So that's how pathetic his schedule is.
Right. They would be undefeated in that schedule as well, and probably would have beaten everybody the same way. They probably would have had a tough game against Indiana like Ohio State did. Only decent team Ohio State played, they won by 7. And so the committee is all over the place to me. Auburn loses to Alabama and falls completely out. And North Carolina, who has the same record as Auburn, they're 6-3. They're sitting at number 17 and moved up. So, and look who they lost to. They lost to Florida State and Virginia. It's 2 of their losses.
And wasn't Ohio State the first team that was able to get into the playoffs without winning their conference championship?
Yes.
Playing the conference championship. Yeah, I can remember when Alabama was up against that when Ole Miss beat us. We were having to say, they're always saying, well, Alabama has to hope Ole Miss loses twice. If they don't make a conference championship game, they won't be in the playoffs. Okay. And then next year, Ohio State doesn't go to their conference championship game, but they put them in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's a helmet. I think it's a money grab. It's a money grab.
Yeah, I know. We know that. Well, we know it's always plays into it. I mean, that's just make the world go round. Money does. But it's just like you say, can we get some consistency? But we never will because people's opinion. But we did like the BCS, remember? We didn't like that.
Yeah, I thought the BCS would have been great if they had just added a couple more teams, a few more teams. I mean, it's just it is what it is. Hey, you got anything else for me, Robert?
Oh, real quick, Pat said, can we score get to 50 points without a defensive touchdown? And you're absolutely right. Because we have to play stuff. Bryce Young has to get in that game.
Yes.
So that'll probably hold back. So.
I hope he gets to play, but I hope they let him play. That's my thing is don't just put him out there. Let him play a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
Have a good one. All right, let's get to Lake Martin. John, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Well, I just want to let you know that I've been listening to you for quite a while, and every morning I try to realize that this is the day the Lord has made and rejoice and be glad in it, and it sure got a lot easier after last Saturday to do that.
and last night didn't hurt any with the basketball as well, right?
That was exciting. Man, that's what I was looking for, man. I'm fired up about the round ball, and, just like I enjoy teams that rely on the bomb, I like that three-point thing too. But, man, you and Robert were talking about the committees, and, man, I'll tell you, if there was ever a year where it was evidence that, listen, the eye test is a lot more than those people want to admit that it is, and they told us when they went into this committee thing that they weren't going to let bias and things like that rule, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. For all these years, since about 2011, I've been thinking that the thing that has fueled the change of how we decide a national championship has been the success of Alabama. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to be
They wanted to get away from the computers. Let's get away from the computers. Decided, let's get people. They let people, and they said, no, let's get a hybrid. Now, I think all they're trying to do is find a way to keep not just Bama, but the SEC down. But this is just ludicrous, especially when you brought up the thing about North Carolina and Auburn. Oh, my God.
Lake Martin, John, let me ask you this question. I don't even know if you guys even realize this. They must have zero respect for the Pac-12, okay? At 3-0 and 4-0, Ohio State was considered the 4th best team in the country, and they have beaten no one with a decent record. No one has more than 2 wins other than Indiana, and Indiana could end up, especially now without their quarterback, at 50-50 at the end of the season. USC and Washington are both 3-0 in the Pac-12. They're sitting at number 20 and number 22.
Oh my God.
Oregon lost one game. They're 3-1, and Oregon is sitting at 23. And then I guess I'm just like, okay, Oregon's one loss, a close loss, drops them from one of the top 10 teams to 23. But Oregon, when you look at them, even though they lost to their in-state rival, they passed the eye test in terms of being one of the more talented teams in the country. But you have them at 23, and that's why I said it's crazy to me that what they're doing with this committee.
It really is. It's out of control, and I don't see how the people on the committee can make many people happy. No, it doesn't seem like anything they go big to do now because they've set such a weird standard. But I also want to ask you, when you and Robert were talking about the playoffs without a conference championship, wasn't it 2011 that Bama did?
I don't remember the exact year, but Alabama has gotten in without getting in the conference championship. They got in there the year that Jalen and Alabama went on to beat Georgia. They didn't play in the conference championship game, whatever year that was.
I think I don't know. But
it was 2016, 2017, one of those. 2017, I think it was. So they got in after, Auburn was sitting at home. You got to love being an Auburn fan. You're sitting at home watching Georgia and Alabama play for a national championship, and you beat both teams. So that kind of has to sing. But thanks, Lake Martin John. Call back anytime, man.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, come back on the other side. We'll get a little bit more conversation about the college football playoffs, basketball. May get to LSU, may not. We'll see what happens. But I love the Martin Houston show, and I love you guys, and I love the interaction. So keep the calls coming, keep the comments coming, and we'll work those into the conversation. 205-342-9904.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We still see some fog near the river, so please do drive carefully this morning. And if you see conditions, give us a call, 205-8.
All right, you got Tom and Chuck on the line.
All right. also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
You're listening to Tide 100.9. Are you in the holiday spirit? Check out Tuscaloosa's Home for the Holidays on Nick 97.5. All Christmas songs 24/7.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's a second half kickoff, and we are lined up with a couple callers, couple comments. Curtis Moore responded to him earlier in the program. He said, I don't have a problem with him opting out. He just should have done it the same time Jamar Chase is. And, of course, that's speaking of Terrence Marshall. I don't have a problem with him opting out because it's his choice in the sense of his freedom to do so. I just think it's the timing of it is not the same reason Jamar did. Now, the legitimacy of it could be that Jamar Chase made the decision because he knew he'd be a top pick, but he didn't start off on his team. He didn't rob someone of reps, and then he didn't quit on his team. They didn't go into the season expecting to have him, and then going into the biggest two games of the season, they didn't lose a player. So that's where I have the problem with Marshall opting out. He played last week, and then now he's gone. So it's just you quit on your team with the way he did it. That's just my opinion on that. Let's get to Tom. Tom, you're with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Good morning, Martin. How are you?
Doing well, and you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I got a question. Pat called in about the helmet recognition game, and I agree with that comment a lot. But let me ask you this. This is an angle I thought of while listening to the various conversations this morning. Take the helmet game issue. Most of our athletic departments in college football hemorrhaging money. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And would you think that is a factor in the committee decision-making process as far as, you know what, we need to get we need to look and see who's going to bring the most eyes to this game. We need ratings is money. Do you think that would be an angle in the decision-making possibilities of the playoff committee?
Would it be a stated objective? No. Is it without a doubt? Is it without a doubt, in my opinion, part of their criteria, whether it's spoken or unspoken? Absolutely. Without a doubt. Now, like I said, I don't have a problem with the first three teams in there. And if Ohio State get to the number of games that they're supposed to get to, I'm going to be okay ultimately with them getting in with 7 games. I'm not happy about it because I think playing a season matters. And if winning 5 to 6 conference games, playing for a conference championship is enough. If they win out, they will have played 7 conference championships, conference games, and would have played 1, maybe 2 teams with a winning record, and you put them in, and for years, what have we heard since the strength of schedule? Hey, they need to go out and play some more people. They need to show that they can do this against top competition week in and week out. Well, Ohio State hasn't done that. And if 6 or 7 wins gets you in, then I say you should be able to next year shut up and not say anything when Alabama or Georgia is 8-0 or 7-1 in the SEC, and then they played the directional schools in the other games. You can't have it both ways, and this committee's doing that. And And if Texas A&M or Florida had a bigger following, I think that they put it like this: if Florida was sitting at 4-0 and Ohio State was 7-1, Ohio State would be in front of Florida. 4-0 Florida would not be in, or 4-0 Texas A&M would not be in front of a 7-1 Big Ten Ohio State.
I agree. And it goes back to a lot of the points you were making, but also it goes back to revenue generated by TV ratings.
But you know, we're talking about this, but we're not looking at other games that they're moving. Why did they move Iowa State up? You know, Iowa State jumped Miami, who's sitting at 7-1. In Miami at 7-1 lost to a North Carolina team early in the season, where you said after 3 losses that they're a number 17 team. So what did Iowa State do beating a Texas team that is? Let me see, where's Texas at in the? Hold on. Hey Joe, is Texas even ranked?
No.
Oh, so why would Iowa State barely beating a Texas team who they were losing to 20-10 with like 5 minutes to go or 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter or something like that, and won on at the very end of the game, but they moved them up in the polls? What? I mean, that's doing something. Big 12 is big money, so they have to get them in there. So, all right, let me let you go. I got to get one more call. What you got? What you got, Tom? Oh, all right. Let's bring Chuck in. Chuck, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Good morning, brother. Houston, how are you doing? Just calling you. This is an interesting conversation you all are having here about the college football playoff. And I know you bring up, things are quite different. And I look at it, and I wonder, people have been all this hype about Brigham Young University. I look at that. What you all, the time that they're playing, many people are in the bed. I'm not watching them, but there are people depending with time zone, and they're not watching them. And the thing, I look at those teams that they're playing. I say, I take anything away from head coach Kalani Sitake. He's done a great job with the program. He's keeping the legacy of Lavelle Edwards alive. But the thing about it, I just look at they haven't played anyone.
Who has Ohio State played?
And that's Ohio State. Who have they?
I mean, that's
another question right there.
They're saying that they have not played anyone. Would you take BYU head to head against Cincinnati? I think I might take Zach Wilson.
You said what?
I may take Zach Wilson. I may take BYU over Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
I may take BYU over Iowa State because they can score points. I might take them over Miami. I might take them over Oklahoma and Indiana.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right. They can score.
Yeah. So, anyway. All right. You got anything else for me, Chuck?
No, that would be all. I want to leave this with you, but they canceled some of those smaller bowl games. As from COVID-19. I started out while I worked at a restaurant. I saw it on television on ESPN yesterday.
Yeah, they're going to cancel some of these games because, what you're going to end up with, Chuck, is you look at the teams who are starting to lose, and even the guys on ESPN last night, Herb Street leading the charge, saying that he has had coaches tell him that there are programs out there who are opting out of games, not because of they couldn't play them, but they don't want to play them with the teams they have. And so I think the smaller bowl games would probably be left in a situation where the travel issue would come up and people just aren't going to be willing to get on the road. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man.
All right. You take care.
You too. All right. Just a couple other quick comments before we get out of here. Joe, we always talk about the top 4 teams, Joe, But it's not just the top 4 that the college football playoff is positioning. They're positioning to get some of these other teams in. Wisconsin sitting at 2-1 at number 16. It's possible. They were talking about it on the ESPN last night. It's possible. Listen to this, that Ohio State could be sitting at 5-0 or 6-0 or whatever and miss the conference championship game. And then on the conference championship weekend, they could play Wisconsin and play a higher ranked team than the team playing in the teams playing in the Big Ten championship matchup. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I was like, how do you write this type of script that they could end up not playing and then end up getting a higher ranked opponent? Because if Wisconsin keeps winning, then they will be the higher ranked team and possibly even catch Indiana in terms of with Indiana being where they are in terms of losing their quarterback. But anyway, they're not just getting the top. They're trying to get everybody situated in terms of the top bowl games. So some of those selections are suspicious, to say the least. And yeah, hey, listen, for everybody that think I have a problem with them winning, I don't have a problem with Ohio State getting in if they meet the criteria. And I'm not sure that the college football playoffs has set that criteria. Coming back on the other side, we will have Scotty Hollins, Johnson & Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We still see some fog near the river, so please do drive carefully this morning. And if you see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to get top dollar for your trade at Townsend Nissan. Extra rebates, so you'll save thousands at your hometown dealer, Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's tricky.
Hey guys, I just wanted to answer.
In the area, especially along the river, and there.
Hey guys, I just wanted to answer a couple of your questions or comments that you made. Curtis Moore, the UNC thing is probably one of the craziest things. They got beat by a horrible Florida State, UVA, Virginia team, and then they got played Notre Dame well, and so you reward them. That's kind of crazy. The Pac-12, CJ and I talking about that. They're getting hosed at 3-0. Will they jump up after they get to 4 games? Is it 4 games that's the magic point enough to evaluate? Don't know if that's the case or not. Notre Dame and Ohio State got nothing to worry about, laugh out loud. And that's true. Notre Dame just found out that they're actually in the ACC championship game. Regardless of what happens the rest of the season, they're in win or lose, but of course they need to keep winning. And then of course, because the ACC changed the schedule. And then of course, earlier conversation, twice Bama has won the national championship by winning the SEC. And of course, Virgil pointing out that both of those were against LSU and Georgia, both SEC schools. So, we'll have more conversation. Let me check and make sure we're not coming back from break.
We invite you this Christmas
All right.
season.
All right.
By shopping local at River.
I just saw one more comment here from Curtis Moore. If Ohio State gets in, then Bama can avoid the asterisk. Absolutely. If they get in and we beat them, then I guess there won't be much said. Actually, what will be said is that they weren't very good.
And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential deck edition, a bird feeder. Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in a desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue. Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue.
Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer. Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See owner's manual for important safety information. Auto-Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in-market competitors. Base models compared.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Martin, you're on 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. And it's now time for our weekly catch-up with Scotty Hollins, Blueprint Ministries. We have an opportunity to highlight some high school kids as well as talk about some characters, championship characteristics. And we'll have Scotty Hollins bring that to us right now. Good morning, Scotty. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back, sir.
Wait, say, Martin.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Focusing on our champions of character, athletes of the week with the Tuscaloosa City Schools. And for this week, our character quality is attentiveness. And so our champions of character for that character quality are Adrian Woodley from Bryan High School. And also from Bryan High School, we have Sierra Cook. We have from Eastwood Middle School, Elena Williams and Adrian Hunt. From Central High School, we got Michaela Kirkman and Asia Wiltshire. From West Lawn Middle School, we have Marika Trone and Naisha Stanton. Finally, from Northridge High School, we have Elisa Robinson and Karen Wiggins. And from Northridge Middle School, we got Evelyn Guthrie and Ryan Hoffren. Again, that's attentiveness, our champions of character for attentiveness for this week. And our definition for attentiveness is concentrating on the person or task before me. So that's really important. And it's really, I think, valuable to show the person that you're speaking to or interacting with. And you can give them your undivided attention. Martin, these phones and these devices, sometimes they can take all of our attention. And it's funny to see some of our kids and even some of us sit next to their best friends and have a conversation over the phone.
Yeah.
And so the message here for our team is to give your undivided attention to the person or task before you. And so, what we've been doing in our series is answering the question, what does the Bible have to say about this character quality? And so I like Matthew 9:36-38. Again, with the emphasis on paying attention to the person or task in front of you. Well, Jesus did just that. He paid attention to the person and the task in front of him. So he's walking around with the disciples, and he comes upon this multitude of people, and he sees them, and he says, man, guys, it says immediately when he saw this group of people, he was full of compassion. So first thing I want to notice here, and observation I want to make here, is the fact that Jesus took time. He cared enough to notice, to be attentive, to notice that the people that he was encountering were, guess what, harassed and helpless, right? And so I want to say, for us who are part, members of teams in any kind, and if you're a member of a family, you're a member of a team. The question is, are you attentive enough? Are you able to focus enough on those around you to recognize when they're harassed and helpless, to recognize when they're really down, to notice the look on their face, to notice the tone in their voice when they've had a rough day. And so he cared enough to notice, but then he says this, it says he was full of compassion. So he cared enough to notice, and then he actually cared enough to, guess what, rally the troops. He says, hey guys, look at this. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. He turns to his disciples and he uses this as a teaching moment. He went for help. Sometimes, guys, as we encounter our teammates, our family members, our co-workers who are dealing with difficult things, one, hopefully we can open our eyes enough to see, be attentive, to see that, man, I could be of encouragement here. And guess what? We talk about rallying the troops and sending the cavalry. You can be the cavalry. You can be the person who actually comes in and decides to help this person and to be the encouragement that they need. guess what? God so chose to make you their teammate. He so chose to make you their coworker. He so chose to make you their family member. And so let's make sure that we don't miss those opportunities to notice what's going on and to care enough to not only have compassion, but also to be the help that they need. And finally, he came up with a plan. It says, Jesus tells the disciples, hey, the harvest is plentiful, the labors are few, but he said, and so therefore, here's the plan. Y'all ready for the plan? You ready for the plan, Martin?
Ready.
The plan is pray to the Lord of the harvest to send more laborers into the harvest. The greatest part of any plan that we could ever execute to serve anyone is to pray for them. Because when we pray for them, we say, you know what? I'm going to help a little bit, but God's going to help the most. And so I want to leave that with you. Be attentive, be aware of the needs of those around you, and be willing to care enough to have a plan. And that plan, greatest part of that plan is to pray. All
right. Yes, that compassion, common passion for our fellow man. That's our life scripture at Harvest Church. And I pray that we live up to it each and every day, and I challenge you to do likewise. It's not just enough to see people, but notice them and then react appropriately and respond appropriately. And the appropriate thing is to pray. Tell them real quick where they can find you, Scotty.
Absolutely. You can find me at www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. I have a voice message there. You put a message there. It'll come straight to my email.
All right. Thank you, sir. Coming back on the other side, you're going to be hearing from Inside the Locker Room with Wimperberry Sanderson. That's the Johnson & Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week. Find them at dentisttuscaloosa.com. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, callers. Thanks, guests. Thanks, Joe. And we remind you that this is the Martin Houston Show. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
For listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow. Roll Tide.